Welcome, welcome, welcome.
We're back.
A bit of a hiatus for the last, was it a month? Has it been a
I
month? I think it was
think
about a
it's been
month.
at least 3 weeks, maybe a month,
It was
maybe
the
even
first,
a month. We've
I
been
think it
gone
was
a long time.
I think it was the first time. I don't think we did a live the second time I went back to Florida. I think it was just that first time when I was there.
Yeah. It feels like it's been a while.
Well, a
We
month is
have
a
been
while.
here. We've been here working, but we haven't been here. We've been here the whole time.
Well, the Fridays, for those of you who watch the show, the Fridays, just a lot of stuff had been come up. Judy was out of town. I was out of town for a while. So,
Yeah.
it was just hard to make that Friday work. There was a lot of stuff that was going on and it was hitting in the middle of the afternoon. So we wanted to keep it consistent and unfortunately it just didn't work out. But we're back. We're back on track with everything and we're hoping to get everything out in a timely manner or when we're doing it before. So.
Well, also, Phil keeps alluding to a big announcement that we have coming up, and we do, but we decided to keep this show about the recipes. So it's really going to be, we're going to turn it into like just about the recipes, kind of like a quick little, just so our meal planners can come in. And if there's anything they need to know, we're just going to go over them real quick. And we're going to like update you on our other platform that we're going to be launching soon that we're going to let you know, but we're not announcing it yet, but we will maybe next week
But
when
see,
we're closer.
today is all about the SmartyPlants weekly meal plan
Oh, I
review
didn't even
live.
notice that. I like that. Yeah, because we noticed that we start talking and we really start talking about the recipes because we actually really love the food and we just, it turns out that the show turns into all about the recipes. So we thought, why don't we make it about the recipes? And,
Plus, there's just some tricks and tips too that
yeah,
I know. And we were just talking about this. A lot of times when you get recipes, sometimes you just glance over. Oh, I know how to. I've done this myself, where it's like, oh, I know how to make this, and I glance
right.
over some important steps or something I should have done differently, and it's like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, I've added that in already. Or sometimes I'll throw everything in, and I was supposed to leave something out, or So
I do that with our own recipes because we change things. Like we have all of our components, but then we'll change things. And so I'll glance and I'll see, whatever it is. And I'm like, okay, I'll just make that. And then I read it, like you just said, and it's like, I wasn't supposed to do that for this one. So that's kind of what we're doing. We're just kind of making sure that all the little tips and tricks we go over because, every recipe has them. So
we'll try to make it quick.
Here we go.
Got a couple Italians. You're gonna try and
you can't shut us up.
About food, especially. Are you kidding?
Oh, it feels good to laugh because I've had a sad week. I don't know if you guys read my post, but my little pup moved on. We had to say goodbye to him, and yeah, really, really hard. And I can't talk about this too long.
I still get choked up when I think about the dog. It's been 10 years or whatever.
How do you get used to it? I just don't understand how you get used to him not being here. Like he would be right here, right next to me. This guy followed me around all day. So I just feel his absence so strongly. It's hard.
Yeah. Well, just like anything else in life, as the days go on, you get used to whatever changes happen in life and that turns into the norm, and then.
Yeah, but I don't want that to turn into the norm.
Well, get out and get another dog.
No, I can't yet.
That's what we did 10 years later.
I know. I was thinking about Hitchy and I know how hard that was. That was their dog, their other dog. 10 years ago.
And if we didn't
have
10
years, wow.
Yeah, over now. Yeah. If we didn't have, the kid, well, Amelia, my daughter, wasn't that allergic to dogs, we probably would have gotten one right away. My wife was a lifelong dog owner. We never had dogs when we were kids, ever.
That's why I'm not used to this.
Yeah. So
never went through it.
Hitchcock was my first dog I ever got, and we got when I was 30, or whatever.
Yeah.
We got him when we moved downtown, but yeah. So it was rough, and then time goes on, and then it was like, oh, we're so used to not having the dog. And then my daughter went away to college, and then I was like, all right, well, now let's get the dog since she's not here with those allergies. And I even,
She's
I
out,
even,
the dog's in.
yeah, I even ran it by her first just to make sure everyone was fine. If we do get a dog, this is, it's not like,
Yeah,
oh, the allergies are bad, we have to return the dog. It's not going to happen. We live with
right.
whatever fate happens. Because I'm allergic to dogs too. So, but
Jeez.
I got to say, I'm not as allergic anymore because now the dog sits on my lap, will sit on my chest, or rub her
Mhm.
face on my face. Unless I really touch my eyes with my hands after I pet her, I've been fine. So it's been great.
Oh, that's good. I feel like
Yeah,
your allergy might be going away then.
yeah. Because I would never been able to do that before.
Yeah, it's just sad. It's one of those things. I mean, it's going to take a while, I guess. But you say you still get choked up over itchy, so maybe it never goes away.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I get choked up about the last day. Like that's what the hardest
Yeah,
part about it. He was
yeah,
sick for about a month, and it was
yeah.
a strain
Struggling.
here. Right. So yeah, but that was a super hard day. But
That's what I think about too. That day
yeah,
it was last Friday. That's why we couldn't do the live last
yeah,
Friday.
right.
Yeah, and that was the hardest day. Just that saying goodbye.
Yeah.
Ah!
All right, we'll move on.
Well, I do have this.
Oh, hilarious.
That was one of his first shots with my baby. I know. So I have that with me at all times now.
Yeah, cute. That picture you
Okay.
put on Facebook was really cute with his tongue
I
out.
know. That wasn't that long ago. That
Yeah.
was right before we moved. So that was like
2
3
years.
years ago. But
Yeah.
see, he always looked like a puppy.
Yeah.
And before he got sick, which was
I
like
don't know
2 years,
that last year, not so much. That
I
snaggle
was
tooth.
oh, poor little pup. I was just about to say that. Before he got sick, he looked like a puppy until he got sick. Then he got real old looking. I should show you his last shot. I do have him. I took a shot on his last day.
Yeah.
He
Sure. Yeah.
looks really cute. I fluffed his hair up and it looks like a mohawk. It's really cute. Maybe I'll post it.
Cute.
Yeah, little code. All right,
All
on to the recipes.
Get that out of the way. So, for those of you who don't know, we do offer a weekly meal plan. So, basically, what this is every week we give new recipes. I just want to put it out there in case new people are watching.
Yeah.
We give at least 3 new recipes, sometimes more. Today, we got a lot because there's a lot of components, which was great. This is a 9 recipe week, essentially.
Wow.
But it also comes with a customizable meal planner, a dynamic grocery list, so there's a little bit more involved. But each week we give out recipes, and then there's access to the full recipe database as well, which is over 400 recipes now. So, in case anyone's curious, they can check it out. Oh, wait a minute, I made a new graphic here too for that. Whoops.
And we don't always have a theme each week for the 3, but Phil and I go back and forth. It's like, well, we're buying things for whatever the theme might be. Like this week, it's Ragin' Cajun is our theme. Because, when we were making these, we were buying all the spices and then you just start coming up with ideas. So sometimes we do themes because it's kind of fun. If you're making one thing, maybe you want to make something to go along with it, or, you just have the spices. But we don't always do themes. And we try to keep them kind of along the same lines, not way different. But I don't know. We're just kind of going along with it as we go, doing it as we go.
And there's some recipes like this, and I'm sure we'll touch on it. Like this has Cajun seasoning, so once you make it, you can use it in other recipes. So it's not, as you make stuff, you don't need the whole, batch of seasonings. Where you can use the same thing in a few different recipes if you choose to make a couple at one time, or you make a couple for the same meal or whatnot. You have kind of that recipe already made.
So for this one, we were like, we wanted to use Cajun seasoning in a couple of recipes we were coming up with. And we had one recipe from our meal planner, Julie, and she used Old Bay seasoning, and I made it and it was good. But so anyway, it's the remoulade sauce that's coming up. We'll talk about it in a minute. But we made it originally for the crab cakes like months and months ago. And when I made it, it just didn't seem strong enough for these sandwiches, the po' boys that we're going to talk about in a minute. So I was talking to Phil about it, and he's like, I said, do you use Old Bay? And he said, no, use a Cajun seasoning. And that's how it kind of came about. It's like, what's a Cajun seasoning? I don't know, because I don't use it. And so we're like, let's just make our own. So we made our own, and we were testing others, and we thought, well, I wasn't, but he said, like, you could talk about this. They're like really salty. So it's like you're trying to add more Cajun flavor and you wind up adding a lot of salt.
Right, and that was the problem I had. I used Tony's. I had a thing of Tony's. I bought at one point, trying to make a dish or making a dish. I can't even remember. I don't use it a lot. I don't make a lot of
I
Cajun
don't even
food.
know that. Yeah.
But when I do, it's like, oh yeah, I think I have some, Creole
Yeah.
seasoning or Cajun seasoning.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the problem with that. And so I have Tony's and oh God, I can't think of the other one. There's another one I bought too, just to see, but the salt content is massive. So it's like, man, you get a little flavor and there's
And
just so much salt. And so if you want more of that flavor, it's hard because there's just way too much salt in the dish. And then if you have salt in the dish, you have to adjust that, so it's a lot of
and just
trial
like
and error.
for me, like sometimes I think it's just too much work. Like, really, I'm going to make my own spice blend. That's my go-to thought, which I'm trying to not do anymore. And I'm hoping you guys won't. I'm trying to be open-minded. So it's like, well, wait a minute, let's look at it. And Phil was the one who was like, okay, there's smoked paprika, there's a little salt, garlic, black pepper, white pepper. I had everything in 3 minutes, which took me the time took to get it all out and just measure them. I had it and I tasted it. I was like, it's so fresh and so delicious. And it's like, why would I spend $6 on this
for a
big
tiny
thing
bottle
that I'm not going to use
know.
much? That I'm not going to use much. So we created ours to be like, it's a little over a half a cup. And so, I have tons of bottles lying around. So I just filled up an empty bottle, wrote Cajun seasoning on it, and use that. And it's so fresh. And it's like, I don't have to spend $6. I already had everything. And I'm not going to use it all that often. I'm going to make all these. Like you said, I don't eat Cajun food all the time, but it's fun to make it. And it will last a year, so it's just in there.
Right.
Yeah. So
see, like,
we added it.
I'll even make like a quick thing where it's just like, oh, I just have some rice and some Cajun seasoning on it and make Cajun rice.
Yeah, right.
Just as a quick side, something like
easy rice and beans. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
If you have rice and beans, I could sprinkle that on and make a kind of Cajun flavor.
Throw in some green onions.
I do use things like that. So if I have it, it's like, oh, I have some. I'm going to sprinkle that on. But yeah, it's not an every week thing.
We had a little, not a problem, but like we had to put some thought into this Cajun seasoning for multiple recipes. So we just want to make it clear, like you can make one recipe for Cajun seasoning and use it for all these recipes. Now, I don't expect you to make all these recipes, but we added the full recipe to each recipe because it's just how we kind of have to do it, the way our meal planner is set up. So like if you're going to make the remoulade sauce, well, what's the one? No, the crispy fries with the aioli. We had the full recipe in both. Well, you probably already think, I already have that. I'm not going to make it again for the aioli. So just keep it in mind. You could just make it once.
Just in case you're not thinking that, think that.
Think that. You don't have to keep making it. You'll have plenty for all these recipes in case you want to make them all. But that's why you'll see it keep popping up because we don't know if you're making this one or that one and you have to have it. So anyway, all right, got that one out of the way.
All right, let's get the screen share here. Get that up a little closer. The po' boy.
That's our Cajun chicken style po' boy.
Yum.
So we originally wanted to make this with eggplant. I thought that sounded delicious and I could not get the texture that I wanted. And I'm telling you guys, I made it at least 5 times. Frank is like out to here with eggplant. I love eggplant and I love this breading. I couldn't make it work. This is what we do over and over and over. So you guys don't have to. I'm going to turn that eggplant into an eggplant Parmesan sandwich down the line because it could be good. But with this, it wasn't working. So anyway, we decided to use our delicious breaded soy curls, which I don't know if you guys have made them, but our meal planners have been raving about them because they are just really crispy and just really, the texture is really nice. So I was like, that is exactly the texture that I want for these. And Phil, you came up with this breading. I love how you dip it in the white whole wheat and then the almond milk. And then the breading is just really tasty. And so the difference with these is that we added our Cajun seasoning to the breadcrumbs. It just gives them a little bit of a punch. And I mean, you don't even really need to because the remoulade sauce is so good, but it does add something special. I toyed with just making the regular ones, but I think it's nice to add the Cajun seasoning into the breading. And that remoulade sauce is so delicious. That's Julie's sauce. And so she did use Old Bay. Well, we added the Cajun seasoning to it, and guess what? It's amazing.
It's even more amazing.
Our Cajun seasoning, even more amazing than the already amazing remoulade. So we didn't change the recipe in the crab cakes because people seem to love it. And I think the Old Bay works with the crab cakes, but this one is cranked it up in the Ragin' Cajun style. So, and then that's a typical po' boy, which I didn't really realize, but Julie said like that is traditionally it's simple. It's just lettuce and tomatoes. That's it.
Yeah.
And it is a delicious, crispy, creamy sandwich. So I love it.
Thing about the soy curls. So, part of what we're doing is trying to get people to do this sort of thing. Hey, you take the Cajun seasoning and mix it with the breading and the soy curls. So it's kind of two different. I mean, we just released the seasoning, obviously, but the idea is there down the line. So if we didn't do it, let's say we didn't do this right now, and we just released the seasoning. The idea is to play around with these things and make them work. Hey, the seasoning's great. Hey, those breadcrumbs are great. That's how we come up with ideas too. Is like, hey, we should put those together and see what that tastes like. Now, not to say everything's going to be great together, but if you know the seasoning's great and you know those the soy curls are great together, they should be. It should work out. There shouldn't be a lot of flops. If you're putting together components, that work. So. Keep that in mind if you're trying to experiment and build your own dishes and things like that. Another thing real quick is with the soy curls. I know, we talk about soy curls. I love soy curls. This is a small family-owned company. It's called Butler. And I reached out to them and they sent me a bunch of samples. I brought it up last week in my check-in. So we are going to be doing a giveaway. They gave me a bunch of products we're going to give away. But if you haven't tried the soy curls, I would go to their website and order them. Give them a try. They are really awesome. And especially if you like kind of that meaty texture to food. These were a game changer for me, along with our crumbles, like just to have that kind of that texture.
And soy curls, they are a little bit more processed only because they're only made out of soybeans. They don't add anything, nothing. It's just the soybean, but they break them down, they form them into little strips, and then they dehydrate them. That's it. So I know that they're a little bit more processed, and then they come, in a bag. So it doesn't seem like you're eating a whole food. And I feel like sometimes we shied away from using them because I didn't want to use them as a crutch, like we would do beans or lentils or, and then you have to order, or some people have, like me, have to order them. I can't find them anywhere. So you have to order the soy curls. And I was always thinking like, that's kind of, I don't want to always rely on soy curls, but we love them. And they start out as a whole food. Like I said, it's organic tofu or soy, and that's all that they are. So they are really nice.
What do you think the difference? Yeah. So some people say, oh, those are processed. But do people eat tofu? It's processed, right? There's a whole process to get tofu the way it is, correct?
Correct.
So what's the difference here? I guess
there really isn't. I know. Maybe it's,
I'm not asking you specifically because I know
you know you're right.
Process, but essentially, all they're doing is kind of extracting this through some sort of extruder or something to create the curl, and then dehydrating it, as opposed to creating a mold and pouring it in and letting it, whatever.
And if you think about a corn tortilla, it's the same thing.
Right. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of process.
Yeah, it's minimally processed. And we have this whole lesson in, I guess is it in day one maybe, or before you begin? Day one. Yeah, about minimally processed. And that's what we eat because it's just the tofu or just the corn, and the tortilla for the most part. That's how we try to eat. And if you look at that sandwich, everything in that started out as a whole food. Even the breadcrumbs. Like I used Ezekiel bread, and I go through this in the bottom in the notes. I toasted it, ground it up in the food processor, added my spices to those. So I didn't go out and buy bread like the white breadcrumbs, refined white flour with added sugar and added oil. No, it's just the Ezekiel bread, which you guys know has no oil or anything in it. Sprouted grains. So anyway, so you're right. I hear you. That's true. I guess it's for me, it was just, sometimes it feels like I don't want to fall back on them so much because they might be hard for some people to find.
And I guess I'm asking the question. So people think, the same people use tamari that doesn't grow on trees. You know, I mean, the idea is a lot of this stuff is processed. I mean,
But it's
the
from a
idea is-
soybean, and it's only the soybean, right?
yeah, so that is a kind
With
of
salt,
mirror
with salt.
concept. I mean, unless you're eating a completely raw diet. I mean, if you're buying anything
No, we're not.
packaged, it's processed to some degree. So,
You're right. Okay, thanks. Thanks for that. That's
just
true.
something to think about, people.
That's true. It's all true. But that being said, we're not going to always use soy curls all the time. There are probably some people who can't find them very easily. So, like last week, I don't think we used them at all. No, we didn't. The lentil, what was last week? Indian. So hard to keep up with all of our recipes. I try to keep up with how often we're using them.
So I don't know if I'm testing Cajun food or we can have now. Been Mardi Gras around here.
Oh, it was the mung dal, yeah. The samosas. Oh, yummy. That was a good one. I hope you guys made that. That mung dal. I know it sounds strange, but it's really just like yellow lentils, yellow peas. So delicious, that one. And the samosas are killer, but that was last week. But we didn't talk about it.
Yeah, right. Yeah. We could have a 3-hour show today.
So good. I planned on doing a demo, and who has time for that? Someday. Okay, let's move on.
Oh, I can't go on from here. There we go. Dirty rice.
Dirty rice.
I loved it. Did you ever go to Louisiana or to Mardi Gras or anything?
I've never been. Frank's been wanting to take me there because he loves it, but I have never been. Have you?
Yeah. And that's part of, I wouldn't say part of the reason I went. I went for a bachelor party and whatever, but we were there.
The dirty rice was part of the reason you went.
No, the food. Well, for me, it was like, I mean, you hear about this food all the time. It's like, oh, it sounds great. So part of it was like, hey, we got to hit some places. Like, I got to try a lot of stuff while I'm down there.
Yeah.
So dirty rice was one of those things. And we even have you been to Papadou on Route 83 here?
No, I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was, and I haven't been there for years now, but it was good. It was it was Louisiana cooking, and that was the closest we'd come from eating that. But yeah, dirty rice, man, it is great. It is. I mean, it can be made, it's a meal or it's a side dish. You can eat it as either, or have it on the side of things or eat it. But yeah, I mean, a lot of these typically had a lot of meat in them. I think this has I mean, if you look at authentic recipes, I think they're like cooking it with the gizzards and, like it's like a lot.
I read that. Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very invasive dish.
So this dish, okay, so some of our recipes this week are a little bit more involved. I go over all this in the meal prep, and we highly suggest you do some meal prepping just because just like all of our plant-based meals, we don't just buy a pack of chicken and saute it or throw in, pre-made meats like that, like sausage, and cut it up. We are actually making the chicken. We're actually making the sausage. We're making the Cajun seasoning. So, that's what we want to go for. And it's going to take some time. So this one actually has those 3 components. Our chicken style soy curls, not hard to make, but it's just another step. You have to make the chicken style soy curls. Then we have our brand new andouille sausage crumbles, which are so good. Phil came up with this spice blend, and it's just awesome in this week's recipes. So you got to make that first. You can make them both early for this one, and then the Cajun seasoning. And if you want to buy your own Cajun seasoning, go ahead. Just watch the salt. And it takes 3 minutes. But
what I find works very well with the soy curls is if you rehydrate them in the spices, and then just let them absorb all the liquid, and then I put them in a bag in the fridge, and just let them sit like that. They don't dry out, but they're not wet anymore. And when you pan fry them, they fry a little bit better. When you fry them when they're wet right out of the bowl, a lot of times they stick a lot.
Yeah, they do right away. Yeah. Right.
I noticed they don't stick as bad when you leave them in the fridge overnight. I've even froze them at that point and then rethawed them, and they fry up fine. Yeah, it doesn't really change the consistency of them that I noticed anyway.
Yeah, so mine stick sometimes.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they don't, but I bet that's why I let them sit out a little longer.
Yep. I've done that too.
That's interesting.
I just throw them in a bag and keep them in the fridge overnight, and just then I fry them up when they're ready to go, as opposed to frying them and then using them the next day. I'd rather, when I use these, I try to use them right after I do them, like right after I fry them.
That recipe for the breaded soy curls, the way we rehydrate them with all those spices, it's so delicious. And I meant to check that. Is that the same as the chicken style soy curls? Just the rehydrating part with the spices. I need to check that. I don't know. This batch that I had made was so good. It's like, wow.
Yeah, it should. I mean, it should
It
be.
should all, they all should match. Yeah. We just create so many recipes. I just want to make sure that they're all solid. Anyway, so I say it in the meal prep, try to make at least those 3 things ahead of time, because then when, on meal night, you're actually making the rice, and the rice has its own ingredients like a bell pepper, an onion, celery, all the spices. So, and then it's just 3 cups of rice, some green onions on top. But, that's work. So if you have the chicken, the sausage, and the Cajun seasoning already done, it makes it a lot faster.
Yeah. And
Doable.
that's typically how I do them as well. Just so even when I'm making the meals, just to make it easy on myself, when I'm trying to create them, I do the same thing, because I'll know if I'm using that sausage crumble. I typically do that a day in advance. Keep it in the fridge, and then I've said it many times, I usually make a double batch just so I have extra in case I have to make it again, or if I don't, I refreeze that, and then whenever I need them, I just pull them right out of the fridge and use them. So.
Yeah, you're good at that, making the double batch of crumbles. That's so smart.
Every time, any crumble, anytime, I always do it. But then I have like 3 bags. I have like
crumbles at all times in your house. Well, we use them for so many different things.
Well, right. Well, not only that, but like when I'm hungry. So like right now, I was just looking for something for lunch. So I had the Korean crumbles in there. I had
what? Yum. We haven't had those in a while.
I had Euro crumbles, and then I had a small bag of soy curls. So I'm like, oh, I'll make soy curls, and I'll just make a quick barbecue sauce, and then I just pan fried them real quick. 10 minutes later, I had a barbecue soy curl sandwich. I was trying to get something quick. But I could have easily made a wrap with any of the crumbles. I could have had noodles and throw the Korean beef crumbles on top. Like,
pizza.
That's what I love about having those. Right. Exactly.
I throw them on pizza all the time. I just look in the fridge. What do I have in there for pizza tonight? Like tonight. Yep. And if I have crumbles, if they're Korean, if they're Euro, whatever they are, they go on the pizza and they're delicious. Korean
crumble pizza. Yeah.
Well, no, that's how we have our chicken barbecue pizza, but that's soy curls.
Yeah.
Ooh, wait a minute. Do we do well, yeah, of course we do. Sausage crumble. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was our first crumble.
That was one of our first. Yeah.
Our first crumble.
I was like, Korean barbecue crumble pizza. Yum.
It does sound good.
It sounds really good. Did anyone ever make the lettuce wraps? Because nobody posts about it, but those lettuce wraps are killer. Yeah, you have. Those lettuce wraps are killer. We never, like we always say, it's hard for us to go back to these old recipes because we have to cook so much for the meal plan. We're always cooking way ahead. So Frank, we joke about it, but I think what did he ask me for? He's like, whatever. It was such a simple recipe. He was like, can we please have that? It's like, no, I've got to cook for the summer.
You got to eat this eggplant for the 5th time this week.
He is such a good sport. He's the best eater, the best. He will eat eggplant 7 nights if I make it 7 nights, and it's just average.
That 8th night, look out.
And he said, yeah, and then he'll send me a text. We have an eggplant again tonight. I'm just like, no, cannot get that right.
Anything but. So yeah, dirty rice is very good. Like I said, I like it like this. I like it hearty. I mean, I eat this as a meal. I don't eat this as a side dish. And
that's a meal.
When there's a lot of work involved, I'm not just going to put a little blop on the side of something else. Well, this is the
now I'll get started on my po' boys.
But I do like that as a meal. I like that just kind of one dish, and it has everything. It has veggies, it has rice, it has kind of a meat. It has,
that's a meal. That's hearty. That's not a side dish.
And I got to say, I'm not a huge fan of Louisiana hot sauce, but man, I loved it on here.
Well,
there's a few things I eat it on.
Yeah, it's just like it's got a lot of tang, doesn't it? Vinegar.
Yeah. It's kind of vinegary. I don't know. I really liked it on this. And a lot of stuff I don't like it. I'm not sure why. I like a lot of different hot sauces. That's just never one of my favorites. But I got to say, and my tastes have changed, obviously, but that was just something I would never used to buy. And it's like, oh, let me try it. It's like, it's not that bad.
Well, I think, what I think. I think what it is that, like, for me anyway, when I think of hot sauce, I think of sort of like the Mexican flavors, like Cholula and whatever else. And so that Louisiana doesn't have those spices in it. I think it's just the hot and the vinegar,
Right.
so you
Right.
wouldn't want to put like Cholula, like the Mexican spices on this.
Right. Right.
That's why you probably loved it with that. Like for
Yeah.
me, I would still douse it with Cholula because I love hot sauce. That would turn it into a different dish, but it would still be delicious.
Yeah. All right.
Anything else for that one? I don't think so.
No, I think we're good there.
Go ahead, Phil.
What did you call it? Mock chow?
No! Mock shoe. Mock shoe. It's a French term, mock shoe, and it's for stewed corn. And it's a very traditional Louisiana dish. And it is a side dish. It's just like corn with lots of peppers. There's a jalapeno in there, red peppers, green peppers. And what they do is they saute it all in bacon grease and bacon. And so they first, saute up the bacon. Then they throw all this into the bacon. And so we had the idea because I love corn and I do love the smoky flavors of bacon. And we just have our new andouille sausage. So I thought, why don't we make a mock shoe and throw in our new sausage? And then the bacon grease, I don't know. I never had it with bacon grease, but apparently it like ties it all together. Sometimes people add heavy cream. So we just came up with our little cashew blend of cashews and veggie broth to add a little bit of cream. It's just like a half a cup. And it really ties it all together with that sausage. I'm telling you, this is like one of my new favorite things ever. It is just like the dirty rice. It's a meal.
Yeah.
It has the andouille sausage in it. It has the corn, and then you have to top it with the sliced green onions. It's like, I think it's a third of a cup. It just brings it all together. Oh my gosh. Both of us were like, we couldn't stop eating this. We couldn't pronounce it, but we couldn't stop eating it. What are we eating again? Mock chow? No,
Mock chow.
But we're learning, and it's part of the fun. It's fun to learn new things. Like when I go to New Orleans, no, I won't be ordering the mock shoe. It'll be loaded with bacon. But I'll be appreciating the mock shoe.
This looks delicious. I can't eat this.
Do you have any plant-based mock shoe?
Why did I order this? Well, I always think about that, and as we were just talking, like I said, like I went down there, and part of it was the food, but the idea, like sometimes it's like now I think of things. It's like, well, I'm not really going there for the food anymore because what can I even have? Like some.
Who knows? I mean,
I guess I don't.
This is right. This is changing. Times are changed, and you might be
That's
able to order a mock shoe down there. I hope so.
Yeah, I guess I don't think about that a lot. Like there's probably plant-based places opening up everywhere and you just don't know they're there yet. Right.
Especially major cities for sure.
Right.
I mean, go to Los Angeles. It's like crazy plant-based, and New York. I mean, seriously. Chicago's a little bit lacking, but we're coming along.
Well, I got to say, I'm part of a couple of vegan groups just on Facebook, and they're constantly talking about places that are around and popping up and different restaurants, that are either 100% or they're moving that way, or sometimes they're vegetarian, / vegan. But there's a lot more than I thought, I got to say.
We just got one in Evanston. I'm so excited about, that Spirit Elephant in Winnetka I was telling you about that I want to take you to. That's really awesome. They opened a small, I'm not sure what is it called? Something elephant. What?
Was it? It wasn't like a smaller version, like an.
Yeah, it's a small version. It might be like carry out. I don't know. I have to look, but it's that restaurant. It's and here, and it's all plant-based. I know. It's like maybe it's like a lunch place. I don't know, but I think today was their grand opening, and they were doing like some kind of giveaway. So maybe I'll pop on over after this. Yeah, but that's exciting. I love seeing that.
Yeah.
Granted, it's got a lot of oil in the food, I'm sure. I've only found one place that doesn't have the oil. What is it called? Now I won't be able to think of it. It'll come to me. I haven't been there in a while. In Chicago, that you have the option of, Amitabha. That's it. And it's like Buddhist Korean food. It's so good. It's like noodle dishes and rice dishes and Bill Choi is the owner. He gets up and he like hand makes the noodles in the morning, and you can just feel, the food is like so fresh and it's all organic, no oil. I know, we got to go there. But anyway, that's the only place I know that is like you can order no oil. Most of it is no oil. But, little oil every now and then I do choose to have. So this should be a good addition to Evanston.
All right. Another place to the list of places that I've, in the last 2 years that I haven't gone because we really haven't gone out much.
Yeah.
Like,
haven't gone out.
It's like, yeah, I got to try that too. Put that on the list. There's like 30 places that I've not been
Well,
to.
let's start going.
Yeah, I'll gain 100 pounds. All righty, moving on to the Cajun fries. Yum.
Yum. Just look at them. I mean, I don't even know if you have to say anything. They're so good. They're thin. They're crispy. They're loaded with our new Cajun seasoning. So again, another recipe to use your spice blend on. And with these, just if you made our other fries, we have like crispy baked seasoned fries. We just cut these really thin and they crisp up so nicely on the parchment paper, and you just flip them after whatever it is, 10 minutes. You have to flip each one, but it just gets the other side really crispy. Mm-hmm. And obviously no oil, and you don't need it. The Cajun seasoning is so delicious. And so then we just created this quick little aioli. Again, it's just a garlic. What's in it?
Cashews.
Not much. Probably cashews. I can't remember. Yeah, cashews, garlic, mustard, lemon juice. Whip it all up. Soak your cashews for a while because you want this nice and creamy. But then we just add a little bit of our Cajun seasoning, and it turns it into a spicy, delicious aioli for dipping your fries in. So we just thought this was a fun little side dish, like if you're going to have the po' boys. It's really good with keep the Cajun theme going.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of fun to make new flavors, it's just a nice change from regular fries.
So the rest of these, those are the kind of the mains, those 3 mains and the fries. The rest of these we'll just kind of quickly go through. These are the soy curls that we talked about that went into the po' boy.
Gorgeous. Can you just tell how crispy those are? Look at those. They're so good. I mean, I don't know. I do love soy curls.
It's
you
okay.
Can dip them in ranch dressing. You can. Somebody did that recently. I know, they're so versatile.
It's funny, and I've talked about this where, remember, years ago before I even went plant-based, you're like, you should try these soy curls. And you gave me a package. I'm like, I don't even know what to do with these. You're like, keep them in the freezer to keep them fresh. And I was like, all right. And they sat in my freezer for 3 years. And then I threw them in the garbage because I didn't know.
God, you threw my soy curls away.
I would have reconstituted them and started eating them out of the bowl. I wouldn't know.
Well, then that was my fault for not telling you what to do with them.
It's exactly what I'm getting to. That was your fault.
And when I made them the first
delicious bag of soy curls.
When I made them the first time and ate them rehydrated, I was like, they're not that good just rehydrated. You have to cook them.
Yeah, I wouldn't just rehydrate them with water.
And they're not good. They're not really good for me, thrown into soup because they just get mushy,
Yeah, it's rough. Even mixing them and stuff with sauce. It gets a little, and again, challenging as we were trying some of these dishes. Sometimes you throw them in too early, and it's like, shoot, I wish I would have just thrown those at the very end. They would have been really good. And it's like, now I got to make this whole thing again.
Well, like this Cajun po' boy, that's why it's perfect because the sauce is just on the bread, and then you put the curls in there. You're not dunking them under in any gravy or sauce or anything. But they'll stay fine. And same thing with the crumbles. We always try to throw the crumbles in at the end. That's why we usually say fold the crumbles in and serve immediately, because if the crumbles sit for too long, they do get a little bit soggy, but that's not to say that they're not good. If we have leftovers and we eat it the next day, we ate the mock chew for a while, it's still delicious. Yeah. It's just, it doesn't have that crispy edge texture that it did when you first made it. It's just kind of mushy now, but still tasty.
Well, even with the dirty rice, we throw it all in at the very end and mix it up so the flavors of the sauce kind of meld in there a little bit, but they're still kind of keeping that texture.
Yep. I guess that's it. We
Yeah.
talked about the remoulade.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
I'll just go through all these real quick. So there's just the remoulade. These are just the pictures about the components.
Well, I just wanted to say about this one, it's so delicious because the creamy cashews, it's just kind of like the aioli. We add some pickle juice, which we like dill pickles to punch it up. But the special thing about this, which is a typical remoulade sauce, there's capers, green onions, and chopped dill pickles that are just thrown in at the end, and you just kind of pulse it a little more than pulsing it. I think it's like 5 seconds on high because I do want to mix the flavors in. You don't want them. That's why we don't fold them in at the end. You do want them blended a little bit, but you still want to feel the texture. Yeah. And that makes it just over the top good. I mean, honestly, we were like licking the bowl. So good.
Get some videos of that.
What is
Spicy
that one?
aioli.
Oh, that's the spicy aioli for the fries.
Picture of the spice blend. Look at those colors. Beautiful.
Yeah, it's so fresh.
Simple. So simple.
So simple and fresh and so good.
That's what I love. Even like when we did the everything bagel seasoning. I mean, sometimes it's like, well, what's in here? How hard can this be to make? Why am I spending so much money buying these spice blends? And they do. I got to say, they do. To me, they do taste better when you have your own spices. And sometimes I'll adjust it. Like I want, even in the everything bagel seasoning, like I add a little bit more garlic and onion than the normal recipe because that's the way I like it.
Yep. You can control it, right?
And again, like we were talking about before, the salt. I mean that Tony's is good. It has a great flavor, but man, it's just way too salty for me to even enjoy. When you mix that in, I just don't think it offers enough flavor for the salt content.
Right. I agree. And like you said, it just tastes fresh. It just tastes better.
And lastly, just the andouille crumbles, looking delicious, brown and crispy and delicious.
Yum. Tastes like andouille.
Andouille and Howie.
So good. And how. All right. Well, I guess we got to wrap it up. We're done with the meals.
We do. All righty. So like I said, if you want more information about the meal plan, it's here. We're going to go through these every week and just kind of quickly. It was pretty quick. It was 40 minutes. That wasn't too bad.
It was quicker than usual.
Chit chat. And we went through 9. I mean,
there was 9
recipes, but yeah, if you want more information about the meal plan, you can see it here. You can check us out every Friday. Again, we got a big announcement happening soon. So we'll be looking forward to that. And come to the website and hang out and chat, post your photos, try some recipes. You can try this bunch of free recipes on the website as well. So come check us out.
Meal planners, I just want to say thank you so much. You guys have been awesome posting your food. You're making things from the past that we haven't seen in a while. We love it. And we love your enthusiasm about our food. It really makes us happy. So thank you.
And it is inspiring. We just, I know Mary just made that jalapeno lime crema, and then we turned around and made a little video making it today. I told her I was going to make it this weekend. I'm like, let's make it today, and then we made a little video making it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to having that tonight too. So
I want that tonight. So I have to ask Mary if we can use that photo because she said she would be open to that because her photo is so good. Yeah. It really makes you want them. Our photo, I don't know, it's just not the best. It's like a faraway shot and the crema's on the side, I think. I don't know. Her photo is gorgeous. So maybe we'll ask her for that.
All righty, everyone. Have a great weekend and we'll talk to everybody soon.